everybody. I'm going to be sipping my coffee while we do this. My name is Liza Walton. I am the principal of Miami Social Marketing. We are a social media agency based here in Miami. We work with a lot of real estate clients, of course, estates at Acqualina being one of them, this is one of the most delightful properties to work with social media just because everything here is just above and beyond. So happy to be here today. We're going to do a little bit of a social media 101. So some of the stuff you may know, but I also tried to put in some things that you may not know. And I really like it to be interactive. So if at any point you have a question, just raise your hand, interrupt me, and we'll try to get as many of your questions answered, because I know there's probably people using social media at different levels, and I'm here as a resource for you guys. So come on. So a little bit about us. Social media is relatively new. We've been around now for about 8 years. So in social media years, that's a really long time. But it really is an integral component of a well-rounded marketing strategy. So I'm a big believer that social media needs to be integrated with what you're doing in terms of PR, what you might be doing with direct mail, what you might be doing with advertising. It should fit into your overall marketing strategy. And basically what we do as a company is that we kind of work as an extension of the team, because social media, where it can be a little bit cheaper in terms of an investment, it is an investment in time. So that's something that we're able to offer our clients. So some things that you guys may or may not know. These stats are probably about 3 or 4 months old, but it does give you an idea. Social media is now a must. It's a must when it comes to your marketing. There's over 3 billion people that are on the internet. 2 billion of them have active social media accounts. Every day there are over 500 million tweets, 4.5 billion likes on Facebook, and 95 million photos and videos that are uploaded to Instagram. That's every day. Some benefits of social media. So it's quick. It's really easy to update your audience. It takes 30 seconds to post a status update. It's a great way to learn about issues of importance to your audience. So if you post something and you get 0 likes, you know that maybe they might not be interested in that photo. But every now and then, sometimes we're surprised that you post something and you get a lot of reaction to it. You begin to understand your audience and what they're interested in. And it's a great and inexpensive way to get content out to a large audience. So as you begin to grow your audience, it's really unmatched in terms of reach. And best of all, it is virtually free. We'll talk about how it's not quite free, but for all intents and purposes, it is. So specifically when it comes to real estate, we work with a lot of real estate clients, and I really think that social media and real estate work really well together. You guys are a service-oriented business. People, you buy real estate from a person, and it's somebody that you trust. So there's something very lovely about you guys as brokers and as agents putting out your personality and your expertise on social media. So what neighborhoods do you love? Where do you live? Where do you brunch? Where do you work out? Where do you shop? Those kinds of things. And it's really all about, it's a referral business. So even if you might not necessarily reach that end buyer, maybe it's another broker that might be in New York that, oh my gosh, I love this girl, and she totally will get your vibe. And that's another way of reaching other people. And it is a virtual network. So as you have your own networks offline, you have your online networks as well. So the key and the ultimate goal at the end of the day is to create that online network into an offline network. So I start all of my presentations this way, and I know I know you've probably heard this one, but I love to say that social media is like a cocktail party. We've all been to a cocktail party before, and we've all gotten stuck talking to that person that we are in a verbal headlock with. Either they are completely talking about themselves in a way that they won't let you get in a word edgewise, or they're all about selling you something. And so sometimes brokers kind of fall into this. So think of social media as you want to be that person in the cocktail party that people want to talk to. And think about who you'd like to talk to. You're going to learn something new. They're going to share their interests with you. They're going to ask you questions. It's going to be a two-way conversation. So as you begin to think about your social media, think about who it is that you like to follow and who it is that you like to talk to, and keep that in mind. So be conversational, be authentic, don't try to be someone that you're not, and be responsive. If someone asks you a question, answer. And it's a two-way conversation. So we're going to go through some social media platforms. This is going to be kind of the 101 part of it. So these are kind of the most well-known, ubiquitous, to use an SAT word, social media channels. So there's kind of the big three that they're the ones that we as a social media agency use most, and that's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. But there's other platforms. There's YouTube, there's LinkedIn, there's Pinterest, there's Snapchat, there's Tumblr, there's blogs, there's Swarm, which is like a check-in thing, and then of course there's like the review sites of Yelp. For this presentation, I'm going to go over kind of the main ones that I see that can be used for real estate, but we're really going to concentrate mostly on Facebook and Instagram because those are the ones that I really see that you can kind of leverage the most for real estate. So why Facebook? And I put this here because I get this question all the time. Facebook is not dead. Facebook has had its problems. There are people, especially younger people, who've decided that Facebook is not for them. But it still continues to be the best social network to set up camp on as a business. There's still a lot of people on there, so it's a no-brainer to be on there. Some of the things that might turn off some of the people, for example, with the Cambridge Analytica and things like that. So as an individual, yes, you should probably keep your privacy settings and be aware of what's connecting to your page. But as a marketer, it's amazing how much they know about us. So those are things that you can leverage. They also own Instagram. So if you're going to be running any sort of paid promotions, sponsored posts, promoted posts, you do need a Facebook business page to run those types of ads. And that is how that's run. So yes, again, 1.19 billion users on Facebook. So you should go to where the people are. It's 100% free to set up and post onto your page. However, there is some money that's required to actually get your posts seen and to grow your audience. That said, a little bit of money goes a long way. So a social media ad budget is always going to be less. And I don't know if any of you have ever looked into, for example, Google AdWords or things like that can be very expensive. $5 a day can go really, really far on Facebook. So that's another reason. And this I put in usually because with the brokers are kind of like, well, I have my own personal Facebook page. Should I have a business page? So just to give you the full definition, profiles represent individuals and must be held under an individual name, while pages allow an organization, a business, a celebrity, or band to maintain a professional presence on Facebook. So sometimes we've gotten those friend requests from people that it'll be like, Smoothie Nation, and it's kind of like their first name is Smoothie, their last name is Nation. Those are people using personal profile pages to promote their business. Facebook will shut you down for doing that. So it is, there are benefits to having the business page. Once again, kind of goes back to the fact that you can put some money behind your posts and do some promotions. There's also no limit to the number of likes or people following you. There is a limit on how many people you can friend on Facebook. Can be found through the search engines because that way your privacy, you can just keep it open and use it for business purposes. And that way, if you want to hide pictures of your kids or you on the beach in Cozumel, you can keep that just for you and your friends. Also, deep analytics. So the beauty of the Facebook page is that we can know where people are from, how old they are, what language they speak. All those things that as marketers help us figure out who it is that is interested in our content and might be interested in the properties or our product. It's an affordable way to advertise. You can create custom and lookalike audiences, which is kind of fun that you can actually upload your email database and you can target those people that way. And once again, you can connect to Instagram Business for ads. So here's some pro tips for Facebook. Keep it fresh. Make sure that your Facebook is always up to date. Change up your cover photos. If you've got a cover photo from 4th of July, maybe you might want to think about updating that. Make sure it's current. Update your page with posts on a regular basis. Create photo albums. So that's something that, for example, for Estates at Acqualina, we've got video playlists that you can actually go to the video page, and it's organized in a way that you can learn more about the project and the property. So kind of go into your albums and see what kind of organization you got going on there, because sometimes we kind of post to the timeline all the time, but someone who might want to go in deeper and learn a little bit more, maybe you might want to organize things. Facebook Scheduler. This is one of my favorite things. You can create your posts in advance and you can schedule them. So that way you're not, oh my gosh, it's Wednesday, I haven't posted on my Facebook since 2 weeks ago, and then you end up putting a post up there really quickly just to get a post up there. But if you take some time, you can schedule things ahead of time, and you can also put some money behind it at the time, and you can know that it's going to be posted, even though we don't set it and forget it, because you always want to make sure if someone's responding that you're responding as well. Again, your insights. Facebook will tell you what's the best time to post. When is your audience online? Is it Wednesday night at 9 o'clock? Are they Sunday morning people? Begins to give you an idea of when is going to be the best time for you to post, and you can begin to schedule things based upon those insights. Again, insights, get to know your audience. Who are they? Where are they from? Is it women over 30 that are in Miami? Is it men in New York City over 45? Is it a primarily Latin American audience? Are you getting people from the United Kingdom? Those are things that you can kind of begin to see from those insights. Again, ads and promotions, you can run ads to grow your audience or promote a specific call to action. So let's say you have a listing that you're really pushing. You can actually run an ad that's going to take someone specifically to that listing link so that they can learn more and contact you. Some more pro tips. So you can also create different posts for different audiences. So we have some clients, for example, that there are two audiences that they have. They have a North American audience, and then there's a South American audience. South American audience, except for Brazil, of course, for the most part are going to speak Spanish. So we can create posts that are only going to go to the Spanish speakers, for example. So there are things that you can do depending on who your audience is that you can then begin to leverage through Facebook. Pinning posts. If you have a listing that you're really pushing, pin that on the top. So that way, that's always the first thing when someone comes to your business page.
Liza?
Yes?
When you post in the two languages, do you post it within the same page, but just the different languages? And then if you want to target advertising, or what do you think?
You'll see that there's like a targeting which audience you want to promote it to when you do in the scheduler. Like it'll say, everyone, people within an area, things like that. You can then just select Spanish speakers. So even though it might show up on your feed, it'll still, it's still going to show it to those people. Does that make sense?
So it'll show to both English and Spanish people, but when you do the ads, you can target it to the Spanish.
Or just even the post, even if you don't promote it. So, and if that post is not targeted to them, they're not going to see it. So, for example, the Spanish speaker is only going to see the ones that are in Spanish, or that particular Spanish post, and they won't see the English one.
On the actual page? Really?
You're still, as an admin, going to still see it.
That's great.
Where do you have to sort it?
So when you go into, and I can sit down with you and show, it'll say which audience. There's like a little,
Box,
yes.
drop down?
And then that way you can select the audience that you want it to go to.
For a regular post.
For regular posts on a business page.
Unpaid, that you don't have money.
But even if the post is like, let's say, half in Portuguese and half in English, Facebook is gonna do that? The same?
Right, so sometimes I do that for certain clients that I know. In Miami, for example, I think that makes sense because we're all bilingual and, so if you're targeting Miami, but let's say you want to target specifically people in Sao Paulo, you can do something that's specifically in Portuguese and target the people in Sao Paulo so that the Miami people don't see it.
But is that when you're going to put an ad, or you can do it
No,
in general?
You can do it in general with the post.
If you do it through the phone, because the Facebook, when you have the application in the phone, is your personal application.
There's also a business page app called Pages that has like a little orange flag on it, and there's a lot more that you can do. You can actually see your insights on your phone.
And everything, okay.
Yes, there's also a Facebook
Because
ad
usually
app.
when you post, it will go to just your personal.
Right.
Because there's no way in the Facebook, even if you try to see pages that you manage.
Download the Pages app, and it has it all organized there for you. It's really great. You even have the insights. You can even promote posts from the Facebook Pages app. There's also a Facebook Ads app. If you're running things that are ongoing, that's also really great to use, on the go. So a little bit about promoting your page and posts. I'm going to share this with you guys. I'm not going to get into too much specifics on this because I can do a whole class just on Facebook ads and promoted posts. Yes?
Speaking of, is there Wi-Fi here? I can't check in.
Wi-Fi. Do we?
Yes, it's TG guest. What password is white beach.
Lowercase?
TG guys, White Beach all together?
White beach.
Yes.
So I've tried to run these ads. First of all, I'm told that most of the high-end clients aren't on Facebook. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've tried to run the ads. I get a whole bunch of people looking at them, and nobody actually emails me. What do you do for a call to action?
So you may want to look at your audience. So I have found actually that it's very rare, for example, that somebody is going to see a post on Facebook and be like, great, here's my $10 million to buy a penthouse. Where I think that Facebook can be powerful is in reaching other brokers and putting messages specifically for brokers. Because
Some people get leads.
And some people do get leads. And we have certain lead ads that are running, and the way that we have also found that it works really well is if you already have a good email database, I'm assuming you do because you're a broker, you can actually create a custom and lookalike audience with that list. So if you go into the ads manager and it'll say create custom audience, you can upload those emails. Don't worry, it's not like Facebook is going to email these people and be like, Liza just uploaded it doesn't work like that. But what they do is they then find them on Facebook, and then you can create a lookalike audience. So if it's a 40-year-old woman that lives in the Rose who has a dog and really likes white wine.
That's Liza.
Yes. So if that is, then you can try and find people that are similar to that. So that way, it might be more of a targeted audience that you're looking at. Your audience might be smaller, but it might be more qualified.
Sorry, and how do you upload again the email?
So if you go into the ads manager, and it'll say create custom audience, and then it'll say from customer file.
Oh, so you upload your email file, like a CSV.
Exactly. You can also do it directly from MailChimp if you use MailChimp. What you'll need to do is you'll need to certify that people have given you their emails to market to them.
And what do you click for it? Like anything, or just
It'll say, do you have permission to do this? Blah 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 blah. You hit yes. With real estate, you also have to say that there's like non-discriminatory whatever, and then it'll create that custom audience, and then you can create a lookalike audience from it.
Hold on, I have another. So I send them to my sign-in page on my website, like to sign up.
Right.
I don't get any of those. I don't know.
You might want to start playing around with some of the lead ads that are actually generated in Facebook. So you can actually create a lead form in Facebook that has, it'll have the picture of the listing or the picture, for example, First Dates at Acqualina. It's got a beautiful hero shot of the building, has a paragraph on there. And then, from there you get the name, the email, the phone number, maybe the country that they're from. You can then download that. Right. It'll come up like in an Excel spreadsheet. And then from there you can you can contact them. But that, honestly, we have found that brokers, you're going to get a much better response than somebody who just might, it might be aspirational, might be like, oh, this is a really pretty picture.
Right. Well, I've tried things.
But for the estates marketing, we get leads from social media, because not only from brokers, but from potential buyers and consumers as well.
By creating those lookalike audiences. So that's where you can kind of target that high-end person a little bit better.
And you can provide like with the header and
Mm-hmm.
the social material, so that if you run the, like let's say I run an ad for my audience, you can give us that material? Like,
Yes.
yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Email Paulina, we can get you the information for that, of course. Absolutely. So back here, so analyze and modify. So if you run an ad and you realize that it's not working for you, then you either need to modify the audience, maybe modify the content, maybe modify the budget. So you can also play around with it and, you know, and see kind of what's beginning to work for you. And if it works, repeat.
And is it better to do like a few dollars over a long term, like a week, or pack it all in 3 days?
It depends. Like if you've got a, you know, for example, the home show, we work with home show. We put a huge budget 10 days before the home show because we have to get those tickets sold. But there are certain things that might be more ongoing. So if it's really just growing your email database or getting interest, then maybe that's something that you put a smaller budget that is a daily spend. But let's say you really want to push a listing and you've got a time frame that it's your goal to get it sold, then that's where you're going to put more money for that specific amount of time.
I hope I'm not asking too many questions.
No. It's helped. Like I'm sure everybody's kind of enjoying that. Okay, so Instagram. Instagram now has over 700 million active users. The audience is younger on Instagram than it is on Facebook. I think some grandmothers are on Instagram now, but most of them are still on Facebook. It's the second largest social media platform. It's great for reaching specific communities. So if it's foodies, fashionistas, design buffs, you know, yogis, it really has great communities of people that have specific interests that have that community on Instagram. It's also unmatched in terms of engagement. This is changing a little bit because Instagram still has to make money, but you've probably noticed that if you post something on Instagram versus posting something on Facebook, you're going to get more likes on Instagram. So you still do have some of that opportunity to get some of that organic engagement on Instagram. As I mentioned, things are changing a little bit there, and we're still trying to adjust, but that rule still holds true.
Excuse me, Liza?
Yeah.
Are you aware if on Instagram, if you don't have a company page, can you also pay for ads? And this is why I asked. My niece, she works in New York. She works in a fashion boutique, and she's a student, a design student. She gets like 200 likes by just posting a picture of her and her face. And it's her with her sneakers, because it's a brand.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't even check in where she works. So I'm like, how is she getting so many likes? And she just puts like emojis of the sun.
Right.
Comment.
A personal page will always get more engagement than a business page.
Really? So I shouldn't hook up my Instagram with my page, company page?
It depends what you want to do with it. So if it is that you really want those 200 likes, so you know, at that point, do you want the 200 likes, or do you want to be able to get the functions of having someone see your story and swipe up to get to the listing? Or it's what you want. It's what you want the end result to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And are there tutorials so that I can analyze and see really what would be the best for me that you know of on Instagram? You know how some.
I will. Remind me. I'll find for you.
Do you know if you can post on Instagram and it goes on your business Facebook page?
Yes.
You have to
You-
set it up.
Yes. You need to hook those up. You need to hook those up. Yep.
I'm very new with the social media.
Yes. So you'll need to create a business profile, and at that point, it's gonna, if you don't have a business page, it'll prompt you to do that. And I will just tell you, if you're gonna use a lot of hashtags and a lot of arrobas and a things, just make sure that when you post onto the Facebook page, it doesn't look like an Instagram post in the caption. Like, use just one or two hashtags. Don't put them all in there on your Facebook business page, because
It's weird.
real quick.
Question on your comment, why would you say not to? Because the hashtags are universal, so. And
It is.
from my own experience, I have a son who is on TV, and I built his social media when he was 8, he's 16. And he has almost 1 million cross-platform followers. So with that said, I've always hashtagged.
Do you put the whole paragraph of hashtags on his Facebook post?
No.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
No, I have specifics. His
Right.
name,
That's
my
what I
son's
mean.
name, Triana Boys, like I've always had specific ones I stick to, but then you go to Google and you can look up his hashtag.
Right.
Pages and pages.
What I'm saying is, generally, if
You
you
not have 1,000, so
not to have 1,000 of them there,
Right. So
and
it's over.
and if you're tagging people, make sure that the tags correspond on Facebook, not just keep the little @ thing.
Yeah, because it would
So
be-
that's what I meant, just to make sure that you're cognizant, if you're going to be publishing something from Instagram to Facebook, that it makes sense on Facebook as well.
What I've done is I've shared it and I've had, let's say, maybe too many tags in that one. I'll just go back to Facebook, just edit it real quick.
Bingo.
Why are there too many tags? I mean, I do put sometimes, like, I put the property, I put the building,
Right.
the flood, and I put generic ones, luxury, whatever, no good?
So
No, but she's meaning tagging. It's one thing if you're hashtagging. If you're
Right.
tagging, like people, like I'm saying, me, her, because we're all together there, the thing, then you go to Facebook and you have it there, it's not gonna make sense, it's not the same thing, because Facebook's not gonna connect those people. Facebook has a different platform for tagging.
There you go. That's what I meant by that. Regarding hashtags, yes, you want to have a lot, but it can also be a little bit distracting. So, we, for example, we'll put them in the comment. And we'll also kind of push them down a little bit, or we'll make the hashtags look pretty. Some of the girls in my office, they'll actually take the smallest hashtag and then make them all big. There's just a way to kind of do it so that it's not.
Right. Got it. Okay, wait, I'm sorry, I have another question. Talking about a whole bunch of followers on Instagram. So there are these girls, all they do is show themselves in their butt and this. They have 1 million followers.
Right.
Because that's what people, that's what they're doing. They're taking pictures of themselves like this with their butt.
Right.
Now, I get these, and I look at them, I'm like, oh my God, 230,000 likes for her butt.
Right.
Okay, now I'm selling real estate, whatever. I'm trying to grow my likes, and I get all these companies saying that they're going to get me a ton of likes. But that's not organic, right? So how do you?
It is, but it isn't. It's always been my philosophy that it's quality over quantity. So if you do have a bunch of likes, and let's say it's people in Indonesia, for example, that's not going to help you sell real estate. It might look good. But there are ways to, it's a time investment with Instagram. So go in to other real estate accounts, see who's following them.
Right.
Go in and start to follow the people that you see if there's other brokers. If there's specific hashtags, go in and see who's been posting about that hashtag, go in and follow them. There is a little bit of a game in that, Instagram will kind of flag you if you follow too many people at the same time. So you are limited to how many people you can follow. There are also some apps out there that tell you who is not following you back. And, something that we do and we spend a lot of time doing for our clients is going in, we'll follow people. And then if after a week they don't follow us back, we unfollow them. You just have to be sure that you're not going and refollowing the same people. So you have to be very clear, because I mean, there are accounts that follow and unfollow me at least once a month, and it's really annoying. So if you're going to be doing that, yeah, like it's actually the James L. Knight Center does it to me once a month. It's really,
Oh, I realized that. That happened to me recently.
yeah.
I was
Is
like,
there a way
"Good
do you
morning."
block people from follow? I don't, I leave it open.
No, I leave it open. We leave it open. I mean, if you want to come and follow us and see our content, of course, we invite you to come and do that.
But can you block on Instagram?
Yes, you can block on Instagram.
You can block, you can report, you can go a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
And,
Not that I did it.
When you were mentioning like the likes and you said if this is what you want, would you say that the likes on Instagram isn't necessarily the good part about the post?
Well, it gives you an idea if it's interesting content, right? But if you have a niece who's just posted a sunshine emoji, or her face with a sunshine emoji, but there wasn't necessarily a call to action to do anything, it's what do you want to get out of your social media? So if it's, this is a great listing, check out the link in my bio, it's you want to do the social media with a purpose.
So let's say you put the listing and then in the bio you put your website.
Right, or you put the exact link that you want. So for example, if we are promoting a specific unit or a specific event, let's say,
You will change the link.
we'll change the link in the
for the
bio.
time that you promote.
Exactly. So a little bit more about Instagram. So it's highly visual and photography based, as we already know, short videos. It is preferred by Facebook, we've talked about this, and it is connected to the Facebook ad platform. It is hashtag driven, I think we've talked about that as well. A lot of new features that keep coming out. So you've got your Instagram stories, you've got your filters, your fonts, your GIFs, your geotags. There's now IGTV, which actually lives there a little bit longer. You've got Instagram Live. You've got your business pages and insights on Instagram, which actually the insights on Instagram are also really good. They tell you also when's the best time to post. They tell you who's following you. They tell you what are your best performing posts, whether it be likes or reach. Gives you an idea of what kind of posts. Yep.
But that's only if you connect it to your business page?
Bingo. And you can also promote posts directly on Instagram.
I'm sorry, can you expand on the IGTV?
So this is new. So where you have your stories, right, and those stories generally go away after 24 hours unless you put them in a highlight, which are the little circles that you see on the bottom. IGTV will stay up there. I think it is a 10-minute, Alexandra. You can actually put longer videos of 10 minutes and they stay up there. So if you have a specific, let's say it's a video of a listing, right, and you do the whole walkthrough, that's a great thing to put on your IGTV. The one thing about IGTV is that it needs to be shot vertically. So where we had all been taught that way. Even though we were taught to do it this way. So that's the one thing for IGTV. So it should be shot vertically. Otherwise it might get cropped a little funky. But 10 minutes, if you then can then be invited to have like longer series, but that's kind of like for, I think, bigger, media companies, people who actually do a lot of video content, that's kind of like their main thing. That answer the question? Yeah.
So then the IGTV, you have to film it like this. Also, the stories on Instagram, you have to film it like this. And Facebook Live, you have to film it like this. But if you're going to just save a video on your own, you can film
Bingo.
it.
Yes. And if you have some videos like this, there are some apps that will kind of, letterbox it, but it comes out a little small, so you can play around with that. So some pro tips. Good content is king on Instagram. So if it's not a good photo, don't post it. If it's blurry, do not post it. If it's a great picture of you and your friends and you're at a great event, but there's some guy leaning down that you can see, his underwear, do not post it. So make sure you look at the photo and really, get an idea that, it's worthy of being posted. So make sure they're clear, that they're engaging. Try to pick a theme. So if it's, generally, for Acqualina, we've got, white and blue, and of course, the famous Acqualina red. Those are the types of colors that we sort of try to stick with. If you're doing it for your business, just kind of, if it's a jarring photo, try to sort of keep things looking within the consistent theme that kind of fits within your brand. And that can be done with, picking certain filters that work best and kind of keeping a certain palette. Engage. So it's not just about posting your own photo, but it's about going in and seeing what other people posted. Going and liking other people's, that's how you grow. Liking other people's pictures, commenting on their pictures, asking them questions. Those are the types of things, that's where you create those relationships. Hashtag driven, pick a few hashtags. Insights, so take a look at those. Take a look at those insights, see where people are from, see what posts are performing better. Instagram stories, so this is something that actually is a passion project of mine. Make sure that your story videos are clear and well lit. Keep your boomerangs to a minimum. So if you're gonna be doing boomerangs, don't do 3 or 4 boomerangs in a row because people will check out because it actually makes me it gives me like a little bit of a, yes. So boomerangs are adorable, they're great, but don't put them all together. You can also now highlight your stories. So for example, if you go to the States at Acqualina Instagram, you'll see that we've been putting together, all the stories and we'll kind of file them. So if it's our agent takeovers, if it's an event, if it's specifically walking through some of the amenities, that way you can sort of highlight different things and keep those stories there. And you can create little icons with them, it's really fun. You can also now promote posts in your stories as well. So through the Facebook ad platform, you can put some promoted posts in the stories, and you can actually, even if you've not reached that 10,000 followers yet, it does the swipe up and it'll take you to that link.
Do people look at stories more than?
Yes.
More than actual?
Yes.
Really?
Short attention span.
No, than one picture.
Yep.
I only look at the pictures. I don't look at the stories myself.
Stories get a lot more.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. IGTV, I think we've talked about that a little bit. And leverage partners and Instagram takeovers. So, if if you're in a real estate group or, we leverage the sales team here. So there's different things where you can sort of help each other and sort of, leverage different audiences and different perspectives as well.
There are quite a few estates in Acqualina.
Geotags?
Yeah. Which one is yours?
It's this one, the States at Acqualina.
Okay.
And then the States at Acqualina at. Feel free to hit follow. So really quickly, and then we'll go through these really quickly. Twitter, okay, it's a lot of active monthly users. Twitter is not the happy place that it used to be, but it is a great place, for example, for, Alexandra, she uses it a lot for media, for example. What are people covering? We'll follow journalists, and it's really a great way to kind of get a lot of, articles always go up there. It's great for listening and following larger global trends. It's also great in one-on-one communication. So you can actually tweet at someone specifically to ask them a question, and it's not awkward. So that's Twitter. YouTube, especially for real estate. It is the second largest search engine after Google. So it's a great place to upload your videos, use those keywords of Miami real estate. Unlike IGTV, you do want it to be horizontal. It's highly searchable, it's easy to share. Pro tip, 20% of people who start a video leave after the first 10 seconds. So if you're gonna be putting something up there and you want people to watch it, make sure those first 10 seconds are awesome. LinkedIn. This is great for recruiting. You can have company pages now, but really I think it's best used personally. So there's some great real estate groups on LinkedIn. You get the alerts. It's great for, again, recruiting, asking questions. Also, not awkward. If you see that you have a connection with someone, you can reach out, hey, do you know this person? Or I'm looking for somebody, I'm looking for a broker here. It's really great for networking. Pinterest. Pinterest is my least favorite. I find it overwhelming. It is the 4th largest source of web traffic. It's mostly female, mostly high income. Great on high user engagement. Focus on visuals, design, and inspiration. It drives people to your website. So this is great for like products, for travel, if you've got something on neighborhoods. There's also insights on what customers like. It is time consuming to do Pinterest properly. So if Pinterest is gonna be your thing, just make sure you make your content pinnable, you've got your boards organized. That is Pinterest, as you can tell, it's not my favorite. Snapchat, over 180 million active users. Only 18% of social media users are on this platform. It skews young. So in my opinion,
13-year-olds aren't buying real estate.
Yes.
4-year-old ball players are buying.
Yes. you
Well,
got
even
a-
27.
You got a small
Yeah.
area, 5 years, 6 years.
True.
Yeah, they love.
But it's where you want to spend your time and your effort. So if Snapchat's your thing, do it for sure. It's also, I think, there's other things you can do with Snapchat as well. I mean, if you have an event, it's very, they're great to work with to actually create a filter that other people can use. So there are some other things that can be done with Snapchat. It's also quickly being replaced by Instagram's kind of, with their stories and everything else. A lot of the things that made Snapchat so fun have already been adopted by Instagram, so you can still do your puppy selfie. And even though Snapchat is the kind of thing that usually I'll take out at happy hour with my friends, and we see which is like the new filter, and I'm just happy it deletes after 24 hours. So, but that's that's kind of how I feel about Snapchat. But I think, as you said, if that is the audience you're going for, by all means, go in and see it and see how you can leverage it. Oh, sorry. Okay, social media hacks. So actually, I think this is a good segue. So you don't have to be everywhere. So if you don't like Twitter, don't be on Twitter. If Instagram is your thing, so pick 1 or 2 platforms that you actually enjoy and use those. Because if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to use it. And it's almost better to not have like a half-done social media page. It's better to actually just stick to the 1 or 2 that you're really going to enjoy and use. Create and archive your content. So one of the questions I get a lot from brokers is, okay, well, what do I post, or what do I do? What do I talk about? Throughout your day, there are opportunities for you to capture content. And maybe it might not make sense for you to post it that day, but create an archive. If you know that you're gonna be up here in Sunny Isles and you get up here only once a month, go and take some photos and kind of have that as your Sunny Isles archive. So there's always opportunities to capture and archive your content. You don't necessarily need to post it right away. Again, make sure that your photos and videos are well lit, that they're clear. and this is actually one of kind of the best tips that I can give you is pick a day. If it's Mondays that are a little bit slower for you, set aside an hour or two and plan out what your social media game plan is going to be. Go through your photos, see what it is that you're going to talk about. Use that Facebook scheduler. So that way you can kind of go through your week and then know that your things are going to be posted, but that you're going to be going in and checking in on things.
So you would say to do it once a week, right? It's better.
Once a week. I mean, for certain clients, for example, for Estates at Acqualina, we try to plan out the month ahead of time, even though we know that stories are going to come up or that certain things are going to come up. We have a game plan of what it is that we're going to be talking about. But I think, individual brokers, I think once a week, it's just a matter of taking that time so that you're not rushing later saying, oh my God, I haven't posted to my Instagram in 10 days.
So you recommend to plan, let's say, one day of the week, but then how about in regards to following up? So looking at your posts.
Every day.
Every day. Okay. Look at your posts and engage if you get
every day.
And for the Instagram, do you have like the time that your post gets the most views? What would you say the time?
You'll see in your insights. Clients are different. So sometimes, Sundays do really well sometimes for real estate because I think people are Sunday morning.
Relax.
Yeah. Generally I find morning to be better for Instagram, but we have some clients, for example, that is better for us to post at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. But I think it's one of those things that I think, generally speaking, in the morning, people kind of go, you're getting your coffee, you're swiping through. But check your insights because everybody's a little bit different, depends on your audience. There you go, frequency. How often you post depends on your audience. Generally speaking, if you're posting more than once a day on a platform, make sure that they're spaced out. So if you are at an event and you took 10 pictures, don't post all those 10 pictures at the same time in a permanent feed because suddenly you might turn people off. So if you can now create those albums where you can take 6 or 7 pictures, put them all together, or if you're going to be posting more, space them out so that people actually have time to see and respond to your posts. Special events are the exception. So that's where you can really take advantage of Instagram stories and Facebook Live, things like that, where you have the ability to post more often. And back to your question, stories are more important than ever. Yes?
Sometimes on Instagram I do like 3-4 pictures at once, because I don't know if it's better to post one beautiful picture than
One beautiful picture is better. And maybe if you have more than one picture that you want to use, maybe that's where you activate your stories.
Thanks.
Tags. Engage and find your audience by tagging others and using hashtags. We've talked about that. Experiment, read up, and don't be afraid to try new things. And of course, be a part of the conversation. Content. I think we've talked about this already. Take one day each week to develop and pre-schedule your posts, but don't set it and forget it. Take 30 minutes every day. Maybe you're stuck at the bank to go in and check your pages. So play with some of the apps that there are available. Like Canva is a great app to create graphics. Ripple's a great one to create short slideshow videos. There's a lot of fun things out there that you can read up on to kind of take your post to the next level. Regarding live, have some pre-scheduled posts ahead of the event. Make sure that you check the Wi-Fi and reception situation if you're going to be planning live. That's happened to us before. Make sure that your photos are edited before posting. Some great apps for editing photos. I'm a big fan of PS Express. There's another one called Visco that actually you can pre-save. You can have like the presets and save them, so you always know that if you're kind of going for a specific look. Check your stats and highlight your stories so that they live longer on your page. Influencers, I'm not even going to talk about that. This I'm going to share with you guys. These are some really good Facebook groups for luxury real estate that I think that's a great place to put your listing, ask questions. People get the notifications for it. We'll be sure to share this with them after the fact. Okay. Yeah, that'll be shared with you. Resources and tools. So scheduling tools. You've got Hootsuite, you've got Sprout Social, you've got TweetDeck, you've got platform specific. I prefer Facebook Scheduler. There's also some reporting and insights. Again, Hootsuite, Sprout Social, also very good. Some resources. Social Media Examiner. It's a little bit of a cheesy website, but any question you might have about social media, somebody's written something about it. So if it's how do I use IGTV, there'll be 3 or 4 articles there that will tell you. There's also a lady named Kim Garst, Boom Social. She does video tutorials. She's again a little, sometimes she can be a little, but it's very informative. Facebook actually has really good resources in their help session, and then Inman. I'm not sure in terms of real estate, Inman is amazing. So in terms of social media, digital, email, it's a great resource. Okay, so final thoughts. Integrated marketing strategy. Stay true to your own voice in your organization. Check your pages, be responsive, listen to what others are talking about, and join in on the conversation and be creative with your posts. And yes, join us on social. These are our handles and our 2 main hashtags. That's it. So yes.
So when you say the social media strategy should be integrated with your marketing strategy, can you shed a little bit light on that? So it shouldn't, whatever your messages are, should be, they're going to be expressed in a social media only kind of way, but it should not be too different than what you're already doing. So if you have a direct mail or if you're doing email marketing, it should be integrated there. And it should be part of your budget. So if you know that your marketing budget is $100, what are you going to put towards social media? And I think social media often, and maybe I'm biased, but it kind of is like the last thing that goes in there. But it should be looked at as part of your overall ad budget and part of your time commitment as well. So, but that's something that, with our clients, we will sit down with, we have clients, we join in on the PR calls. What are the messages that are going to be put out there this month? We should be talking about the same things. So if, we work with estates, for example, they know, we know what their email is going to be, and we know that they're going to be talking about, the wellness guide, then we know that we're going to be posting about that as well. So it should be, we should all be on the same page and talking the same talk. Any other questions? I know it's a lot, but we'll share this with you.